For me, storytelling has always been the way to reach the heart. The stories that you can tell around the
At 29 and I find myself wondering what did happen to the last 10. I ran away with my life, fast forward, never turn back again. It's kind of funny that the more we pass time, the more we need to set the rewind. And 19 was the year I had to leave you, but now I'm seeing all the signs. Is this really happening? I can't believe it's true. I'm just as surprised as you. Is this really happening? I can't be too sure, but one day I'll be yours again. Life lessons come one in a dozen. The other 11 give something from nothing. I sit here looking for an answer. Maybe the biggest question was in the last chapter. You gave me the soul I have today. Without you I never could have moved away. But now I see what you teach. I do believe I always should have stayed. Yeah. Is this really happening? I can't believe it's true. I'm just as surprised as you. Is this really happening? I can't be too sure, but one day I'll be yours again. One day I'll be yours.
worth walking a whole extra hour in the morning to get to a place where I can cultivate the land without causing this terrible destruction of the environment.
Takale gives me hope. The way it gives me hope is it is changing lives. And it is also empowering the local voices. You find there are people, they call themselves like forest guardians, friends of forest. There are people who are becoming, tree planting groups.
More than 80% of biodiversity are in the hands of indigenous people and local communities across the world. In Africa, on average, more than 65% land tenure is in the hands of local communities. So if we want to achieve conservation impact and address the climate change, we have to work with local communities and not only engage them, but empowers them to own and drive decision-making in their landscapes.
Well, the Kari approach began when I flew over the Gombe area. I flew over an area which in 1960 was part of the equatorial forest belt that stretched right across equatorial Africa to the west coast. By the late 80s, I flew over in a small plane and I looked down and I saw a tiny island of forest. Gombe National Park is very small, surrounded by bare hills. As you know, I spent many, many years studying chimpanzees. When I began, there was probably between 1 and 2, and I'd say closer to 2 million. And today, 100,000 to 300 and a bit thousand is all that's left. Many of them are in fragmented environments, isolated genetically, and have little chance of survival. So they are highly endangered. And if we don't take action, then they will become extinct.
The NASA satellite data helped us understand what does it mean to be a chimp. It helped us understand where to protect them. NASA supports, launches, and maintains and manages constellation of different satellites, and some of them going all the way back to 1972. By providing this data to the conservation community, it helps us continuously monitor the chimpanzee habitats. The chimpanzee habitat suitability model, developed with support from NASA and University of Maryland, includes more than a dozen variables directly extracted from Landsat satellite imagery. It includes NDVI, it includes percent tree canopy cover, it includes tree heights. Using conservation standards approach and dashboards, we take these models and turn them into habitat health indicators, into actionable information people on the ground can actually work with. And the conditions of the forest can change quite rapidly due to illegal logging, mining, or any other threats. So this information is updated in near real time, so that conservation decision makers can see the individual threats affecting chimpanzee habitats from village to national scales and across the entire chimpanzee range in Africa. And this NASA data helps identify areas under threat of illegal logging or fire damage where local managers could be deployed to mitigate the threat. In addition, mobile apps enable community members to become involved in not just tracking changes in the habitat, but to be active in enforcing the protection of the village forest reserves from degradation. Community leaders have even used this data to inform their village land use planning, voluntarily moving farms away from areas where forest restoration would lead to the greatest gain for watersheds and people.
It works both ways. Sometimes you show a lush forest and then you show how a few years later it's devastated. There's just a few burnt stumps. But on the other hand, there are other images which show you a devastated landscape and then 5 years later, trees coming back, regeneration, new hope, new life. So the stories that you can tell around the images, along with the images, make something
so high I'm hypnotized. What's up is down, what's left is right. Chasing stars and holding you. I can't see the end, but we'll see it through.